Probably wonder why your prayers aren't being answered. And most probable reason is because of this idea that I'm going to talk about in this video. The Mishnah tells us in Makot that the mother of the Kohen Gadol, she would give food and clothing to the killers that killed by unintentionally, that are in the Ir Miklat, in the city of refuge. They're there, they're protecting themselves, that the Goel Hadam, the relative, the one that they killed, won't kill them. And the question is, why does she provide them? That they shouldn't pray that her son, the Kohen Gadol, would die. Because Mishnah tells us that, of course, when the Kohen Gadol dies, the one who killed by mistake, he goes free, he doesn't have to stay in the city of refuge anymore. So we have to ask the question, of course, why does it make any sense that this is how Hashem sets it up? That the Kohen Gadol's mother, she's gonna do this, and that the Kohen Gadol, she's afraid that these people, these ones that killed by mistake, that their prayers are going to cause that Hashem is going to have the Kohen Gadol die, just because they prayed. And also, what does it help that she's going to give them the food and clothing if they want to get out of this situation that they're in? Why would it even help to give them food and clothing? They want to get out of the city of refuge, and they're praying that the Kohen Gadol should die so they could get out of there. And the answer is that the reason why she does this is because if the one who is praying has a reason why not to pray their hardest, because they have somebody else to rely on, they have the mother of the Kohen Gadol to rely on. So they're not going to pray their hardest to Hashem to get them out of the situation. If that's why they're going to be praying, that's not a prayer that's a full heartfelt prayer, because they have somebody else to rely on. And if they have nobody else to rely on except for Hashem, then their prayers will be so strong it could actually kill the Kohen Gadol, even though this person might have been considered a Rasha for killing by mistake, not being responsible, but because he has nobody else to rely on except for Hashem, so his prayer will be answered. Where do we see this concept that a person has only Hashem to rely on, that his prayers will be answered? We say, Karov Hashem l'chol kora'av, l'chol asher yikuhu be'emet. Hashem is close to all those who call out to him, be'emet, in truth. What does it mean to call out Hashem in truth? It means that you only have Hashem to speak to. You only have Hashem to rely on. When somebody only has Hashem to rely on, then their prayers are going to be answered, because Hashem is going to be really close. They're really calling out to Hashem. They have nobody else. A lot of times we turn to Hashem, but we're also relying on the shadchan, we're also relying on the boss, we're relying on the doctor, we're relying on the president. Hashem is telling us, you want me to answer your prayers? Hashem, He makes amazing miracles levado. Nobody helps Hashem. When you have somebody else that you think is going to help Hashem, right, then Hashem doesn't make His wonders. One of the anima means is exactly this. Anima that only lo levado ra'ui litpalel, that there's only Hashem to pray to, ve'en zulato, that there's nobody else who could help him. He doesn't need anybody to help him. And if you turn to Hashem in a way that He's Hashem is my rock, right? Then my prayers will be for ratzon. My prayers will be for a will. When Mashiach will come, he's not going to need any help. He won't need help from the IDF. He won't need help from Trump. The pasuk tells us that he's going to come ani v'rochev al hamor. He's going to come as a poor person riding a donkey. He has only Hashem to rely on. Hashem is going to make it that when Mashiach comes, all the nations of the world are going to be killing each other out, and Mashiach is going to come as a poor person. He has no bomb, he has no atom bomb. He doesn't have anything that he's relying on except for Hashem. And that way Hashem is going to help Mashiach to be saving the world, just because he's doing it all alone. And this is what it means to say, that Hashem answers His nation when they pray out to Him, when they only have Him to pray to. We say, who is a God except for Hashem, and who is the rock except for Hashem our God? Which means that Hashem our God is our only thing that we're turning to, and that's the way that Hashem will be our rock. So what happens is, when a person wants his prayers to be answered, he needs to come to the prayers with the mindset that I have nothing else to help me, nothing else can save me. Not Uncle Sam, not the state of Israel, The only thing that can keep me protected is relying on Hashem alone. You know, in life, we have a lot of different bosses that we feel like we have to make happy. And we forget about all the bosses and remember who's the boss of all bosses. And that's what it means, Amonai, he's my boss. That's when Hashem really answers our prayers. When I come to the Kotel, I remember that the time when I had a project I was trying to work on, and I saw right behind me was praying one of the richest people in the Syrian community. I said, oh, he's finally here. I could go and ask him. And then after tefillah, he wasn't available. He went straight to the Kotel, to the wall itself, and he prayed with tears, looking for something that he's praying for. I said, if he is coming to the boss behind his desk, that's where the boss is, behind his desk, right by the Kotel. He's coming to the big boss and he's asking the big boss. I says, why do I have to ask this guy? I could ask the big boss also. When we understand that to fire all those bosses that we think that we're relying on, because we only have one boss, that's when our prayers really have the impact that they can.